Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the goddamn internet. Today's gonna be an absolute banger and more than regularly, okay? We got a new person that's been speaking a lot of crazy shit and we're gonna be checking it out. The person's name is Ron Pandolfi. Okay, there's been some drama and a lot of talk in the UFO community recently, and this person has been saying some interesting things. He is former CIA. And he claims the Tic Tac video is fake. So we got the Tic Tac, the Fleur, Gimbal, and Go Fast, right? So this is what was released and got a lot of people into UAP, the subject, in the first place. So we're going to be checking out some claims that these are fake, and he tried to take credit for this. So I would love to hear what you have to say and think in the comments down below. Share, this helps a lot. Patreon down below. Get your snacks, get your popcorn. Guys, we're gonna be in for a good one today. So stay till the end, the best parts are there as always.
Jamie, we have the video? Okay. Here we go. Now explain what are we seeing and why are we seeing it in this this particular
okay,
shade?
so we'll just kind of go around. So if you look at the OPRs operate in the top left corner. NAR is narrow field of view, which is zoomed in. IR at the top middle, it means it's in infrared mode. So instead of seeing color, you're seeing temperature variations.
Okay.
And these things are extremely sensitive to in like tenths of degrees. They will tell you the difference due to color. So it'll go from black to white. So in this case, white is hot. So if you look down in the bottom left corner, it says WHT. That's white. That means white is hot. So the object that you're looking at is hotter than the sky around it. But what you also notice is there's no plumes. Now, if you're looking at an airplane, when you get closer, you'll actually see the exhaust coming out, and there will be a really glowing plume. That's important as we look at the video.
So one thing I'm really curious about, and I've wondered about a lot, is the different variables of UAP. We got some reported as having melting lava coming out of it, or a melting material. Then we got things that don't make a sound and don't have any heat signature and become transparent in some cases, or invisible to the human sight, like in the light range and spectrum that we can see. So there's just so many aspects about this, and it just makes everything confusing. I wonder if there's put too much information out there, and then some of it being false just to make everything not navigatable, you know?
I'm now in this back and forth engagement with Ron Pandolfi. And Ron Pandolfi is the supposed head of the Weird Desk, and he can be very mean, and he's, you know, and what he says constantly is loons, crooks, and worse. And of course, he calls me a crook because I steal his quotes and I put them in books. And I say, well, that's how it works. You know, you take quotes and you footnote them and you put them in the book. That's how it works. And you take his story where I caught him on tape. I think that's why he's so angry at me he calls me a crook, is because I got this tape that he and his wife put on the internet, where he's talking about the portal, where he says people have always wondered what it's like to go into the next world. There's been a breakthrough. The next time John, who's his friend sitting beside him, next time John goes to the desert, a number of us here will go into the next world and come back again. And of course, what's his story? His story is his wife is actually from the other side. She came through a portal and was found in a basket and by the Kashmir, and he was brought to the exchange with Reagan for the portal for the princess. And this whole bizarre story about the fact that you can go into the other side and stuff like that.
Okay, Jesus fuck, right? They claim that this woman, his wife, came through a portal and was in a basket, so she's from the other side. What? Right? So she's from the other side. She's otherworldly. So we should all just drop everything and worship her, guys, because they said so. Okay? But yeah, it's very interesting. A little bit funny how candid it is. Like, yeah, just came out of my wife just came out of a portal in a basket, just as a gift from God. Okay? Damn, right? So this is so cultish. Like, what does she want? Like, worshippers? What does this mean? What is her purpose if we entertain that this is reality? Yeah, I just love these kinds of stories. Let me know what you think. This is pretty crazy, right?
And when he uses the word loon, crooks, and worse, I finally sort of thought I figured out maybe what he's talking about. And that was what I've always had the dispute of, is everybody wants to do the nuts and bolts thing. And he's saying, if you're talking nuts and bolts and anti-gravity and stuff, that's loons, crooks, and worse. That's garbage. These guys are just trying to scam the Congress.
What does he call them?
He knows it's this weird weird aspect of portals and stuff. Even John Alexander was being interviewed by Gaia TV, and Sid Goldberg told me that they went into the parking lot, and he was still Sid Goldberg's always asking questions. No, another question, another question, and John Alexander's going to his car, and then John sort of gets frustrated, and he said, "Look, it's not about the UFOs, it's about the portals." He gets in his car and drives away. And I said, "He actually said that?" And he said, "Yeah." And this is the whole deal, that in the background, you suddenly realize there's these people. And now I'm actually interacting with one, and he's maybe off duty, maybe now already retired. And then he's in this position where he may be able to do something. And I think he's talking to me because I'm a Canadian. I don't think he could really do this to me. I mean, I think I'm the only person on the internet, except for one other person, that he actually talks to on the internet. And he engages me everything I post, every single thing. You'll see his comments on there. And so now we've got this conversation with him. And I have said to him, and he actually said to, he actually offered me, I said, "Okay, you always say that these I'm a crook. These people are all loons. Everybody's totally nuts and they're insane and they should be in insane asylums. Okay, how about you tell us what's going on?" And he said, "Okay, give me a list of questions and we'll have a debate." And I said, "Well, no, I don't want a debate. I just want you to tell me what's going on. And right now you're on duty. And as long as you're on duty, I don't believe a thing you're saying." But this engagement is taking place, that we may actually at some point have him on the record where he actually talks, and he's supposedly the guy with the keys, and he's called himself the guy with the keys, the gatekeeper. He's the guy that may control all the classified material and finds leaks as to who's leaking and stuff. And that's where he says, like, it's loons and crooks. So if you're talking technology,
you know this individual's name?
oh, Ron Pandolfi, yeah,
It is. Oh, yeah, that's who I thought you were describing, but I wasn't sure if you were.
yeah. Sorry, this is Ron
attributing.
Pandolfi.
Okay, so just to get this straight, this guy is a gatekeeper, and how does this connect to the Hammer and Chris Bledsoe and Tim Taylor? Is the Hammer like this other, do they work for the other side? Like, how does all this connect? Did you guys also think of that when you first heard about this? It just seems like it might connect, not sure, but it's very similar. It seems like it could be in the same universe, right?
So there's three. There was the three guys were Art Landau was the first guy that ran the Weird Desk, and from the first thing that Ron said when he started out this kind of stuff, he said, "We have a phenomenology problem." And I've always known. It was 1991. He said that we have a phenomenology problem. He didn't say anything about UFOs. They know it. It's all connected, because he has this thing with his wife and the portal, and she's got a time machine and all this kind of stuff, and it's just so wacko stuff. And now you look at it, you go like, "Hey, this may actually be for real." But he's disputing the thing where if people say it's aliens from other planets, he disputes all that kind of stuff. I think he's basically saying that it's way more complex than that.
But I was gonna say there's weird. Okay, again, anytime you're dealing with an individual like that, you have to tread with caution, take everything with a grain of salt. That's just a given, right?
Yeah.
But also, so Ron Pandolfi ran the Weird Desk after, Kit Green handed it over to him. And I believe it was 1984, right?
83, yeah.
83, yeah.
And they'll dispute the Weird Desk. They'll say there's no Weird Desk. Yeah, there's no Weird Desk, just like there's no assassinate foreign officers desk, and there's no there's no desk. I mean, we assume that there's no
portfolio, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I'm betting you guys think this can't get any more crazy, right? Careful what you say, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
But it's noteworthy to mention that, so you have the guy who was running the Weird Desk, Ron Pandolfi, allegedly holding all these keys, but the whole time, or at least since at least the 1990s, he's been assisting Dr. Stephen Greer.
Guys, do you realize what's going on here? Stephen Greer is just gaining more and more credibility. Jake Barber, and now this. Like, Stephen Greer has been in this game for so fucking long. I'm not sure he's quite up to standard of George Knapp, but he's not far off, and he has a lot of movies. He has a lot of work in this topic and field, and I don't know, maybe Greer isn't crazy, but he says so much out there shit. How far does the truth go with this man?
Stephen Greer's story goes that he was offered security and assistance by a high-level CIA guy. He, as Greer claims, the highest guy at CIA that deals with this kind of thing, who we know was Ron, is who he's referring to, and he Dr. Stephen Greer even slipped up in the citizens' hearing when they said, "How are you still alive?" And then Stephen Greer says, "Well, we have friends like Ron Pandolfi." So he said that publicly, and I was like, "Wow!" And then you'll see in other interviews and videos that he does, he's reading emails off from a high-level scientist who's calling all these like people like Hal and Lou and everybody techno scammers, right? So, and that's some research that you did and that I saw pieces too, and I put the pieces together. It was like, this email's from Ron Pandolfi, and he's reading it on YouTube, right? And you can, if you go to the 4-part videos of Stephen Greer talking about the Atacama humanoid and the corruption around that, that's a whole thing. But there's older stories of Stephen Greer talking about how when he was doing Project Starlight, before the Disclosure Project happened, he was offered security on an executive level, aka CIA, and that he refused it at first, originally in 1996. And then when people started dying, 3 individuals in particular that he talks about pass away, Sherry Adamak being one of them. Himself got this very malignant and dangerous cancer. Everybody got it like within the same month, which again he attributes to black programs, wet works, trying to take them out. I can't verify that claim, but the people did start going down around the same time, which is strange. But then he took the offer from Ron Pandolfi, again, which he doesn't name him, that he wanted the protection. And he said ever since that point that this high-level CIA guy has been running protection for him, and that's in part, assisting him.
Yeah. And Ron told me he's got protection. He's around him.
Rockefeller's request for UFO disclosure was dealt with in the White House by the president's science advisor, Dr. Jack Gibbons. To prepare for the first meeting in March of 1993 with Rockefeller, Dr. Gibbons requested a UFO briefing from the CIA. That briefing was tasked at the CIA to Dr. Ronald Pandolfi. So if you want to know, that's probably the guy you should be phoning. Dr. Ronald Pandolfi, who's been identified by the New York Times as the top scientist in the CIA, and a man who is rumored inside the UFO community as the agency expert on UFOs.
So, guys, I'm just fucking fascinated by how these two connect. Tim Taylor and Ron Pandolfi. These people, are they working for the same group, the Hammer? It feels like they have to know each other. Maybe they studied together in Panama, but of course we would not know. And for even mentioning this name, probably get on 10 watch lists, right? Even Tim Taylor. There's so much censoring going on. Go look up what happened to Danny's podcast. So many episodes have been taken down for saying too much in regard to Tim Taylor and or Ron Pandolfi. So a lot of high-ranking, really smart, outstanding individuals, very mysterious.
And a man that over the last 20 years has repeatedly interacted with many researchers inside the UFO community. As the CIA has a public position of no UFO involvement, Pandolfi gave the job of writing the White House briefing, which he knew would become public because Lawrence Rockefeller was involved. He gave that briefing job to a private UFO researcher, Mr. Bruce Maccabee, who had done a couple of UFO lunchtime talks at the CIA headquarters. The briefing therefore became not an official briefing on the subject, but just a personal opinion of one researcher inside the UFO community.
And honestly, I can't wait till we get some more public information out. That is now classified about Townsend Brown's work. We could really implement these technologies and methods that are highly classified and used only in the military that I'm aware of, as where to the general public can benefit from this. I think so many black budget, highly classified things are so much more advanced by so many years, and then we never implement it into the general public infrastructure because we just want to have that edge in the battlefield, right? It feels like such a waste. I feel like priorities need to be shifted, and we need to advance faster as a species if the living today want to experience the tomorrow that is fun. So there you go. That's the message of today.
Then it goes to even this engagement I had with Tim Taylor, where he's sort of hinting at me this Hughes aircraft building in outside of LAX, where he's showing me these photographs, these two guys flying through space, and it's a painting. And he's asking me, he's not telling me, he's just asking me, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And it basically it was, this is what the jump room was. And I'm thinking, 2 years later, maybe, I'm thinking to myself, hey, why did he show me this photographs? Like, why was he at this Hughes aircraft building? There must be something to this. And now there's the story going around that he was part of this thing in the Bahamas,
the Nassau, Bahamas group
with the time travel thing, and we discussed before we
Townsend
started.
Brown.
So it feels like time travel is becoming more and more plausible, less and less science fiction. Guys, there's so much interesting stuff coming out about this topic, and research and information leading to the plausibility thereof and the weirdness around what that means. Go check out American Alchemy about this, time travel in general. He does some good work, Jason Michaels, about this topic.